Hello, you are listening to another episode of Trade Insider, a podcast series brought to you by the International Chamber of Commerce Academy. My name is Priyanka Satapathy and I will be your host. Today's episode is about the importance of upskilling and continuous professional development for employees to keep pace with the ever-changing requirements of the new global trade order. We will be speaking with Jens Jacobsen, partner at MBP Solutions and one of our international trade alumni. In spite of being in international trade for more than 2 decades, as well as being in a senior leadership role within the company, Jens Jacobsen decided to enroll into ICC Academy's Export and Import Certificate. One of the reasons of taking up the program was to gain in-depth understanding of cross-border transactions. But more importantly, he wanted to gauge the quality of the professional qualification for his employees based in Europe, Asia, and America. Today, 45% of MBP Solution employees are trained in ICC Academy's industry-validated Export and Import Certificate. Let's speak with Jens Jacobsen today to understand why investing in employees' professional development is crucial to strengthen the backbone of any business. You have been with MBP Solutions for the last 18 years as the Chief Sales Officer and Partner. Can you provide us with a brief overview of your company?
Thank you, Priyanka. And thank you for the invitation to participate in this podcast. Yes, here at MBP Solutions, we are working with recycling of industrial byproducts and waste. We are taking the byproducts and the wastes and are recycling them. That means that we are finding the best solutions, both in terms of economics, but also in terms of finding the most environmentally advantageous application. We have developed outsourcing solution for industries so that industries that have byproducts and waste, that they can simply outsource the management of the byproducts to us at MBP Solutions. And that means that we will take over the management right from marketing and sales to transport and logistics to registration with authorities and right down to producing reports to management on the achievements and the mass balances for the byproducts. We are globally active and we take ownership of the products, and that means that we do a lot of international transports and a lot of international contracts and a lot of trade, and that's why we are here today, and we've been participating and had a lot of employees on the ICC courses. It's very relevant for us.
At MBP, you are responsible for outsourced management of byproducts for manufacturers of biologically based products. Can you talk us through your role? What is it that you do day in and day out?
That's a very good question. I mean, I often ask myself that same question, and I think many people that work in management have those questions, right? Have you actually done this today? What did you actually do this week? And the answer is it's a lot of different things, right? And I have been part of MBP for 18 years, and when I started, we were 4 people, and now we are close to 100. We have people sitting in offices in 10 different countries. So a big part of what I do today is I help my people that work in different offices work together, cooperate, and I help them to, as good as I can, to make their tasks more efficient with more impact and to give better results for the company. A lot of what I do is getting things organized and implementing small improvement and changes, whether that is posting positions that are adding new competence and new resources to our company, whether it's coaching the employees on how to handle different issues. I often get involved if there is a problem, if there is a risk, if there is a complaint, something that is a little bit out of the ordinary. I'm part of the senior management in the company. So there we are looking at the company strategy. We've just finished our work with the company strategy, and we have put in place a new system. We call it a dashboard system, which allows our managers as well as the individuals to see and to plan for the future events. We have identified KPIs and we have key actions that we are planning for and seeing the progress. So part of my job is also setting up systems and providing a structure for the people in the organization so that we can continue to develop and manage the complexities that we have in our business in a good way without too much risk, and making sure that we are able to be profitable. Because without profitability, well, there is no company.
Now that you have mentioned what you do, just out of my curiosity, do you mind sharing with our audience what is the favorite part of your job and something that you find challenging?
Most of what I do is challenging and exciting, and I think my view on this has also changed over time. I think in the beginning, what I found most challenging was going out and talking to customers, identifying business opportunities, and then creating the results from those opportunities. And I still enjoy that. However, I no longer get to be so directly involved in these things. So it's more the results that I achieve together with my team and the people that I work with. I'm now spending more time, as I talked about before, about setting up the structure and about coaching and managing the people in the organization. And in the beginning, I actually found that quite of a distraction. But I have come to realize that that is actually my job, that I need to set aside time to do these things, because without coordination and management, well, there's no way that so many people will be able to do their job. And after that realization, I've also come to appreciate the possibility that that gives. And I'm now dedicating more time for that. And the involvement in our strategy, for instance, has been very interesting. And provides sort of insight and clarity based on our analysis of what we do and what there is a need for amongst our customers. So I enjoy both the very operational things, but I also enjoy working with people and that we can succeed together in this more complex structure.
Thanks for that insight, Jens. Excellent. Here on this forum, I would like to let our audience know that Jens is one of our Export and Import Certificate alumni, an industry validated certificate on international trade brought to you by the International Chamber of Commerce. Jens, in spite of having more than 2 decades of experience in international trade, you still decided to take up a professional qualification. What was the driving force that motivated you to enroll into the program?
Maybe it wasn't so much for me, more as for the team, that I felt that this was an area that we needed to improve in a more structured way in the company. A lot of what I do in the company is based on trying to evaluate what is important and what is not so important. And we were working on what I call the core competences of the company. And one of our core competences is international business, or ability to do business in an international environment. And we do carry out a lot of transport with third-party transporters across continents and within continents, and also inside the same countries. And I felt we could improve in this area. We would improve on one of our core competences. And I could see that there was a need for training for some of our employees, or for a brush up. So we simply decided that everybody in the sales organization doing contracts and doing commercial operations were going to take the course, as well as some of the people working in our back office. We call them business coordinators, that are involved in the paperwork and the documentation around the different transports. And then I felt it was very natural for me to take the course as well, so that I would know what my people had been going through and could talk to them about that. As a matter of fact, I never really had a lot of structured training in this area. So I also learned a lot from this about the technicalities. And I think it's quite important that we have this knowledge in the company in order to be able to do things correctly and manage risks. So I think it was a great course. It's been great for the company to have many people on this course.
Being an alumnus, you know that the Export and Import Certificate offers comprehensive knowledge on how to conduct cross-border transactions, along with an understanding of international trade processes as well as their related risks to successfully compete in foreign markets. The expertise that you have acquired through this qualification, how do you use this in your day-to-day role within the company?
I think I'm using this on my day-to-day work. As I said before, if we have problems on a daily basis with our operational transports, I'm part of the team that go in and try to find what was the problem and how do we solve it in a good way. I'm also using it when we are putting together the organization and Having a good understanding of which steps are involved, it also allows me to map out which people need to know what in order to manage the value chain in our service. So we've been working quite a lot over the last couple of years on restructuring our organization, basically going from a very flat organization to an organization with more functional leaders. And there it's been critical that we have been able to create departments that are logical and that are aligned across the value chain. And with all the actions and the documentation that is involved in the international trade, the course gave me a good overview of that, and it's been part of what I have used to organize our sales department and our business coordinators.
Since 2018, almost 45% of your employees have taken up and successfully completed our export-import program, meaning there is a lot of emphasis on training and professional development within your company. Why do you think continuous professional development is crucial for today's professionals?
I do think that professional development is important, both for the company but also for the individual. We are seeing a lot of very rapid technological development, and the change that we as a company is experiencing is quite amazing. And for the company, that requires that we are constantly aware that we need to upskill our employees. And it's a little bit like if you don't grow, if you don't develop as a company, well, you are slowly dying, right? So, and we see the employees as a very key element of our company and what we can do. So we are sort of encouraging our employees to develop as well. We're trying to promote from inside, and with promotions often also go new skills. So training has become an important part of what we do. And together with our HR, we have developed what we call MBP learning, where we have a platform where we're trying to manage the training both internally and externally that we are providing to our employees in order to make sure that they have the skills that are required for them to do their current job, but also are getting the skills and training that allow them to do new things and carry out new functions. And I think we as people are motivated by learning new things and getting more responsibility and develop and experiencing this personal growth that goes along with it. It's kind of a win-win, that it's good for the employees to learn things, and it's good for the company or the organization when their employees get new skills and have the opportunity to use them at work.
Jens, speaking about professional qualification and experience within international trade, can you tell us a bit more about your journey to reach the current position you are in today?
Yeah, I'm afraid that could easily become a very long story. I think I've actually had quite an untraditional career path. Looking back, you would say that was quite strange, but that's been the way it has. I started in university studying forestry as a Master of Science, and then I worked for a number of years in the forest industry before I started. I became then a managing director of this industry association and was responsible for a marketing campaign for Christmas trees. I felt that was really exciting. I then decided that I was going to develop that part of my competences. I took an executive MBA, and I changed industries a couple of times, and I also worked for a short term as an independent consultant, finding out on my own body how difficult it is to run your own company and how much you need to focus on winning business and doing sales. And that led to me meeting up with my old study mate, you can say, who was a founder of MBP Solutions. So I identified the company as a very interesting company with a lot of future. That was my evaluation. So after a short time, I joined the company and also became a minority shareholder. And in the beginning, we were just a small group of people. We were 4 people. We were already international at that point with offices in 2 different countries and with suppliers and customers in an international setting. And then you can say it's been a development from that. It's really been an all-absorbing voyage where I and we have gone all in and been very involved in developing the business and shaping the business and defining what we do. So it's been really, really exciting to be there right from the beginning. But there's also, of course, been a lot of risks along the way and ups and downs. So at times it's been emotionally very challenging. But it's also, very rewarding. when you can see that you end up managing the challenges and are successful in what you're doing. And one of the things that I really appreciate at this point of time is the fact that we have a number of very satisfied customers around the world. We are measuring this in our customer satisfaction survey, and we are getting net promoter scores that are very high, and we are getting references based on our customers recommending us to others. And I really appreciate that, because it means, I think, that we have succeeded in setting up an organization that is able to offer great customer service and deliver value in what we are doing.
So you are in a senior leadership role, Jens. So what are the qualifications and traits that you look for in candidates while hiring them?
In the sales organization, we are looking a lot at people that have a commercial background, commercial experience, as well as having a technical understanding, because we need that technical understanding in our employees, in many of our employees, in order to solve the technical issues that our customers have. I talked before about the different applications in different industries, and it's important that we have people that are able to look at the byproducts and see the potential in them, do the analysis, and compare them with what are the requirements that customers have in different applications. So that's really at the core of it. I mean, I spoke before about our core competences, and those things that are really important for the company as a whole. And doing business in an international setting is one of them, but also this knowledge about applications and ability to understand products is the second of our core competences. And then the three last ones are related to supply chain management, our legal competences, and the last one is our sustainability. So people that can tick some of these boxes are people that we definitely want to talk to. And also, if people have relevant experience that is relevant for us, whether they have been experienced with some of our supplier industries, or whether they have experience selling into some of the applications that we are working on. But I mean, we are a big company, and of course, if you are in HR, maybe these core competences aren't that important. Then we are more talking about relevant experience with managing an HR function, and so on for accounting, right? So there are many different roles in a company, but the ones that I'm most responsible for in the business is related to these 5 core competences. And then I would also like to add that since we are active in the international setting, then we are also very open and really appreciate when people speak languages. So we think that that's an important part of doing business in an international setting. It allows us to better understand and communicate with people and understand and appreciate their culture and differences. So we have people speaking a lot of different languages in MBP, and we consider that a big asset for the individuals as well as for the company.
Let's touch base a bit on the international trade landscape. Like any other sphere of economic activity, international trade has been a victim of the current COVID-19 pandemic. Your company deals with byproducts from factories in Europe to North America and China. How are you dealing with this new scenario? Any advice to companies engaged in international trade?
Well, I don't know if I'm in a position to advise anybody on this. I think there are many companies that are doing this in a very good way. But I think if you look at today's news, well, it's all about disruptions in the supply chain, whether it's the difficulty of getting containers, increasing freight rates from Asia to Europe or to the US, or it's the lack of truck drivers in the US, in China, and in the rest of, and in Europe and the UK. So obviously the physical side of it currently is a challenge. And there isn't a lot you can do about that other than try to manage this as good as it goes, trying to find more reliable, which, what is that? That can be difficult. So maybe to have plan B, if one thing doesn't work, then maybe have an alternative for that. But there's also the whole element of difficulties in traveling, difficulties in visiting customers and suppliers, difficulties in attending exhibitions and conferences. And even here, 1.5 years since we had the first issues with the COVID-19, that remains a challenge, right? So for us, digitalization has been part of the solution. We have embraced the video conferencing as many others. Today we also do hybrid meetings. And I think most people do that. And it comes with opportunities and limitations. And we're trying to manage that as good as it gets. I'm very excited that I'm going to the first exhibition for a very long time. And I'm very excited to see if people are actually coming in the same volume as before, which I don't think is going to be the case. Right? I think there are still a lot of people that are concerned about traveling. I think there are some restrictions on travel that we can't live with. I mean, it's still impossible, or almost impossible for Europeans to go to the US, and it's impossible for anybody to go to China. And Singapore is currently in a lockdown. So there are a lot of disturbances, continue to be a lot of disturbances to the business.
So what industry sources do you use to keep yourself up to date?
I like to read. I like to keep myself informed. So I'm following a number of trade publications in the various industries that we are active in. It's impossible to go into details in all of them, but we put an emphasis on this in order to try to be on top of the developments in the different industries. We have chosen to become a member of various industry associations in order to follow the development. And then for many years, I've been a reader of The Economist, which I think is just a great newspaper. And I read local newspapers, and I read New York Times. And recently I've been enjoying also podcasts, which I think is a flexible way of getting up to date. There's a lot to choose from. Yeah, individual industries, and then the business and economical press in order to understand and get inspiration for how to run business in a good way.
My last question, Jens. You have been in this business for a very long time now. What will be your advice for today's international trade professionals?
I think everybody should do their own analysis and try to find out what is it they believe in, what is it that they're both qualified to do, but also can get motivated to do. And I can see that part of what has given me the energy to do my job and to drive MBP Solutions to where we are today has been that I really enjoy it, and I feel that what the company does is something that fits well with my personal values. I think the thing of us doing recycling and recovery of these industrial byproducts and wastes is something that I personally enjoy and I think is a good thing. And it gives me the energy to perform and get out of bed and do my job on a daily basis. So this choice of industry and choice of company where you want to work is a very important part of the foundation for what you do. I also think that you should think about your manager. Try to have a good manager. It will have a big impact on your learning and your career. And life is too short to be stuck with somebody who's not clever enough, or who's not fair enough, or who doesn't have the right ethics. It's a little bit of a luxury maybe for some people to say that they should choose their manager, but I do think that is what really goes on. I mean, companies try to choose the best employees, but employees should also try to choose the right companies from them. And in today's job market, I think many places that's actually is what is going on. That employees are deselecting companies that they don't want to be associated with. But that being said, it's also can be difficult to understand what's really going on in a company before you actually get there. Otherwise, what you mainly see the surface, you see the brand, and the reality behind the brand may be different than what you actually believe. And the last piece of advice I would say is understand that with today's change, you need to be prepared for that change, and you should make sure that you are actually well trained. You should embrace knowledge and science, because that is what will be valid in the long run. So go to school, take courses, and develop your knowledge, because it will be the base that will drive your performance in the long run. So those are some of the things that I could sort of chip in with.
A big thank you, Jens, for taking the time to record this session with us today. Trade Insider listeners, if you want to have a comprehensive understanding of the international trade processes and their related risks to successfully compete in foreign markets, enroll into our Export and Import Certificate program. And if you're keen on keeping up with all the changes that is happening within the global trade industry, do sign up for our monthly newsletter. The subscription link is available on our website, icc.academy.